Howdy sports fans, I'm Patrick Lujan from GuamSportsNetwork.com. Welcome back for our one-on-one interview. This time we're talking with Guam basketball men's head coach EJ Calvo. He's also the PXC CEO. We'll be talking about both subjects. Thanks EJ for joining us today.
Thanks Pat, good to be here.
First off, we've made some really good progression over the last year for Guam men's basketball. Tell us first off, what made you decide to take the lead of the men's program?
Well, I stopped playing in after the 2007 SPGs in Western Samoa, and kept my eye on the team for a while, and was always interested in working out with the guys and staying in shape. And then finally there was an opening for head coach, and the guys were hungry for basketball. They weren't working out at that time, and so the opportunity came up to step in as a coach instead of a player, and I was happy to fill that role and see how far we can take the team.
What were your immediate goals once you got the job?
Recruitment, get the best players out, number one. That's always been an issue on Guam, and some guys shying away from the national team due to commitment and just everything that it takes to be a national team player. And like any good program, you got to recruit first, and then develop the guys and be ready to play at a higher level than you really see on island.
We spoke about this earlier, the recruitment of JP Cruz, one of the highly touted athletes coming out of high school.
Yeah.
This is his first time to play on the national team, and I asked you, EJ, how did you get him to get on the team?
Well, I played against JP for a long time. I coached against him when I was coaching at Father Duenas in the early 2000s, and was a big fan of his game. But over the years, it seemed like he wasn't sure whether he wanted to commit to the national team. And finally, I think after maybe maturing a little bit as a basketball player, decided that he wanted to test himself. And it was pretty simple. I just said, well, we've got big things planned, and I think you should be a part of it. And he's worked out extremely well, getting into the system, understanding how we play defense, and what's demanded of him on the defensive side was really the obstacle. Offensively, it was easy for him, coming off screens, hitting shots. So.
McKelly Wesley, another player that Guam has tried to get on the team for a long time. Doesn't hurt to be a good friend of him going back to the days. And
yeah.
How is it getting him on the team and him finally in Australia?
It was awesome. McKelly's a longtime friend from playing against each other again in middle school and attending high school together. And when he left Island, we've always known he's eligible for certain tournaments to represent Guam. I think his professional basketball career actually got in the way throughout the years, and after retiring a couple years ago from playing professionally, his time opened up to be able to do things like fly back and compete with Guam on his chest. So he was happy to do it, and wants to continue working out with us as much as possible and competing with Guam basketball. 6'9" veteran center is really a game changer when it comes to us competing against bigger opponents.
And he mentioned to GSPN that his younger brother is interested in playing for Guam.
Yeah, his brother lived on Guam, I think longer than he did, growing up as a kid, and should qualify as well for a lot of competition, and is happy to represent Guam. And I think these moves are key moves to take Guam to the next level in terms of basketball. I don't believe we should be looking at bringing in majority of our team, or even any players that we think will throw off our chemistry. But the key to the international game is going to be that we can defend in the post, and that we also have a post option on offense that we haven't had in the past for a long time. And it's proven that having those players will really help us. So yeah, we look forward to working with the Wesley boys to represent Guam and continuing to develop all the talent we have here on island.
Speaking of international play, we came so close in the Oceania competition last year, semifinal heartbreaker.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, we really felt we should have gone undefeated in that Oceania tournament. It's a FIBA tournament that included the junior national team for Australia and a men's team from New Zealand minus a couple of their NBA talent. But it was their men's coach and primarily their men's team. And we took Australia down to the buzzer, lost by 2 points in pool play, and then continued dominating the other Pacific Islands throughout the tournament, and then met up with New Zealand in the semifinals. And really thought that we could have made it to the gold medal game, and lost by a buzzer beater in that game on a missed shot tip-in. So it was a learning experience, win or lose. It was his first addition to the team, so there was a little bit of a learning curve throughout the tournament, just in our playbook and in terms of getting to know the guys. But I think what it gave us is a taste of how good we can be, and going back and playing against those type of that caliber talent. It also set us up as one of the top-ranked teams in the South Pacific for the upcoming Pacific Games. In the bronze medal game, we handled Samoa quite well, and so I think you can expect is those islands are going to be gearing for us. They see that we're taking this seriously, and next year's Pacific Games is going to be exciting as we go after that gold medal that's been eluding us. So
awesome, looking forward to that.
Yeah.
So talking about the facility in Tijan, how did it come about, and what's the plans for Guam basketball with that?
Yeah, so one of the problems with our national program since I was a player in the early 2000s was not having a practice facility dedicated to train our national basketball players. I've been part of teams that have worked out on various outdoor courts, tripping on potholes. I remember after the typhoons, we were in one of the warehouses on Guam, getting black, dirt all over our hands, and that's what I remember. And so one of the missions when I became head coach is to find us a dedicated facility. The Tijan Gym was returned to the government of Guam in the late 90s, and after a couple typhoons was just devastated. So the gym's been sitting idle for about a decade. And we talked to Parks and Recreation. We looked at an adoption program really to work with the government, and Guam basketball is happy to and thankful that the government is working with us to allow us to fix up the Tijan Gym, which at one point was a beautiful basketball gym. We're hoping that'll be our headquarters in the near future for all our basketball meetings and workouts, and we'll be able to expand our youth development program for young basketball players coming up to the national level. It's a dream of mine, and it seems like it's coming true, and the hardworking board of Guam basketball and Parks and Rec are working together to make it happen.
Any time frame as to when it'll be coming?
I'm really hoping we can get into practice before this summer's Micronesian Games with our men and women. Right now we're still kind of begging gyms all over the island for court time, and so we're going to continue to do that until we can get the renovations done, and we're going to be seeking as much support as we can from the community to do that, as well as from FIBA.
So the NBA, the latest buzz is this Mount Rushmore of NBA legends. I wanted to ask you, who would be your Mount Rushmore for Guam basketball?
For Guam basketball, if you're going to consider the national team the pinnacle of Guam basketball to represent Guam on the international level, I've got to start with the helicopter, Tony Suzuko. Just legendary in terms of what he as a player in the local leagues, and then winning 2 gold medals in the South Pacific Games in the 70s is something we all aspire for. Joe Taitino was his point guard on that team, and I think a staple in Guam basketball internationally, also during the 70s. And then moving to the 80s and 90s, where I started playing and watching the guys firsthand. Joey Gogui is obviously one of the most talented basketball players Guam's seen, and a very impressive international career. No gold medals, and that's something that's been I guess, missing for Guam basketball, but he's probably pushed the envelope for Guam basketball through the 80s. And then I'd say Steve Nygaard, for me, would cap off my Mount Rushmore, just because I grew up playing in the village, watching Steve, and playing against him, and just the guy could score from anywhere on the court, could play almost every position on the court, and I learned a lot from playing against him and watching him. I remember playing against him once in high school. He must have been in his early 30s, and he went for about 75 points on our team. And as a 15-year-old or 16-year-old kid, you don't forget that. And I don't think he passed too often in that game, but he put on an offensive show that I haven't seen anyone on Guam do in a long time.
Yeah, that's a pretty good list.
Yeah, that's what I think.
All right. Let's switch hats a little bit.
Okay.
We'll talk about MMA, representing PXC, the evolution of the promotion. Big TV audience in the Philippines, and everyone knows the success of PXC starting here and evolving into the Asian market. One question I wanted to ask you was, how does it feel when you build up these fighters and they become PXC champions only to lose them to the UFC or to any other bigger promotion?
Well, it's all part of our plan, really. Our contracts with these professional fighters allows for a release clause to the UFC, understanding that is the pinnacle of the sport in mixed martial arts. It's something that I think attracts a lot of top-tier fighters to our promotion. And the obstacle, of course, is that when they do well, they actually do get the offers, and we're happy to see them go to the UFC. And we have to keep looking for talent and replacing them, keep the roster filled with up-and-coming talent. So that hasn't been a problem either. So especially with our expansion to the Philippines, fighters from all over Asia, China, Japan, Korea have been reaching out to us, and we really have to be selective now in terms of who we're going to sign next, as some of our stars get signed to the UFC. So it's all part of our plan, and why I think fans love PXC is that you get to see that rising star. At the same time, the action is some of the best you'll see in the sport worldwide, because these guys are so hungry to prove something. So I think that's what it's about.
Cool. Finally, for the local fan, you have your John Tuggs and your Baby Joe, Ty Minglos, Frank the Crank Camacho. Are there any young, hungry fighters that could possibly make it to that level?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of Kyle Boom Regis. Kyle's a kid that's been training grappling and various MMA skills since he was in his teens, and I think that's the evolution, is really guys like Baby Joe and the early MMA guys picked up the sport, picked up jiu-jitsu in their 20s, a little bit later, and now the new generation has been training a lot longer. So guys like Kyle Uggan, Kyle Regis. I'm a big fan of Ricky Camps and Trevin Jones, who are kind of an upcoming battle of 135s. I mean, there's so many good talent coming up on Guam, but I think those are the guys that are really about to make a big name for themselves.
Awesome. All right, thanks to EJ Calvo, men's basketball head coach and PXC CEO. Thanks for taking your time.
Thanks, Pat.
We look forward to bigger and better things for men's basketball and for PXC also.
Okay, great.
All right, so for GuamSportsNetwork.com, I'm Patrick Lujan.